Let's do our picks now, shall we?
Should we do a little intro?
Oh, yeah. ESVN.
Stone cold lock of the century. All the week.
Boom.
Boom. Of the week. Well, we're not exactly tied yet,
We're close.
but we're close because we have the same number of wins. The only reason that Bradley still has a leg up is because of those 3 pushes where I only have 1. So this got really close really quickly. And it all started when Bradley took the Jets against the Patriots, and he's gone 1-8
And
since that time.
also, it did not. Your fate did not befall. You did not have the same fate as me when you picked your team and the Jets. You actually went 2-1, and I went 0-3. So
I think for me, when I picked the Giants, I said they weren't going to win on that Cowboys game, and they backdoor covered. That did save my ass to a degree, but this is what we've got here, folks. 19-19-1 is I could not be more mediocre.
like the Knicks to start the season, they had literally symmetrical results.
I know, just enough to keep damn Tom Thibodeau around.
Yes, exactly. Average is good. Average is fine.
We'll be as mediocre as possible. Just another year of this
Yeah, no worries.
this lacking of complete hindering of the development of our draft picks. But that's beside the point. Yeah. I'm 19-19-1. I couldn't. Yeah. Again, this is really hard, so I'm pretty happy with 19-19-1 being even. Bradley's 19-17-3.
And by the way, I was literally 18-6 or 18-7 or something like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now I've got 1-8 or something. But since then,
no, 1-8. Yeah, you went
1-8, right?
0-6 the last 2 weeks. You won 1 this week. The Bengals pick,
which
ballsy.
Frankly, I'm. It's so funny that I literally thought my other 2 picks were the safer ones, and I thought, there's a chance that the Chiefs are angry about having lost to the Bengals twice before and try, to figure out the stifling defense, but they had it. So I was impressed that I actually, one of the 1 and 2 was that one.
I thought that was risky too, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, the Bengals they just
have the number. They have
I
the Chiefs
feel
number.
very good about the Bengals just as in
I
general.
hope we get another. No matter the outcome, I just hope we get another
the
AFC matchup.
is so fun, and they have the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, all in the
Totally.
AFC: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. I think it's like them, and then it's kind of a drop off at this point. But that's the conversation for another day. Although we did touch on it a little. On Monday
In terms of like fear level, fearsomeness level.
Yes. But put that back up just briefly because I was right on the Vikings. The Jets did try to come back, and they came up short because Mike White, who's
the hangover, the Mike White hangover game.
I was dead.
As we expected.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and also the Titans, like that wasn't even close. That was the one I might have. No, I don't know. I was fairly certain that they would keep it close. And actually, I do think that was a typo by me. I think the line was 5.5. Doesn't really matter. The Eagles trounced them, and I didn't cover. The Giants tied, so they plus 2.5 was a cover. And Bradley, wow, the Jaguars got beat down by the Lions.
And I could have expected it for the offense, but it's also just I just was so surprised. I think it's just so interesting to me. I was saying this to you before the show, I have not hit on the weeks where the Vikings and the Lions show out, and I pick them when they drastically. I either don't pick them when they drastically overperform, or I pick them when they drastically underperform. I was just not expecting the Jaguars to not be able to literally move the ball against the Lions defense.
They're so young, and I think that's contributing to their inconsistency.
Totally.
I'm hopeful the Jaguars take a
bust.
bigger leap next year. And then you were right about the Bengals, as we just talked about, and then the Chargers just embarrassing themselves and
just never ends.
It
truly never ends.
It's just unconscionable what they're trying to do with Justin Herbert's career. It's killing me.
I need Brandon Staley to be. At the very least,
and
Joe Lombardi. I need them gone.
I mean, so as an aside, I was like, there's no way he's related to actually Vince Lombardi.
Oh.
There's no way, right? These teams would not be this brazen in their nepotism. Yeah, grandson. Cool.
You think that's a coincidence?
I guess I had cognitive dissonance about how ridiculous that would be, but that's him, and he's bad at his job, so get him out of there. Anyway, these are our picks for this upcoming week, though. Here we go. Bradley's gonna, we're in the thick of things now. It's like these next few weeks are gonna be incredibly important. The fact that this is this close, this far into the season, I think bodes well for you guys as viewers, because that's fun. But here we go. Locks for week 14. 14. All right. I'm committing the cardinal betting sin. I'm going against my Giants.
Wow. Boo.
I was surprised to see the Eagles were only 6.5-point favorites. I think they win by a touchdown at very least. The Giants are not winning this game. The Giants are just not winning this game.
Yeah, I just think that as we've been talking about the last few weeks, like with the Lions game and this Commanders game, and even the Seahawks game to a degree, there's a little bit of mean regression happening with the Giants, and I still think it can be competitive. But the Eagles it's just so clear that like offensively they have so many ways to win. There's just so much they can do.
Yeah.
And if the defense can just
most complete team in the NFL.
Totally. And if the defense can just hold up, it just seems like.
Although the Bengals are pretty good too.
Oh yeah,
but.
it's just hard, and especially now.
Yeah.
It's just really hard for me to see like the Eagles even with the one game they lost, even with the Commanders game, and even with the Colts game being close, I'm still like. But at the end of the day, they can win ugly, they can win clean, they can win on the ground, they can win with Hurts passing. It's just like. I still haven't seen a step of them faltering where I'm like, oh, that could be concerning going into the postseason. I'm still like, I just think it's even for this week, but going forward, I'm like, it would be tough for me to bet against the Eagles.
Yeah. So my case is very similar to you. I mean, the only thing that really I think can derail them from at least going to the NFC Championship game is some injuries.
Yes,
but
agreed.
At this point. So the Giants do have Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, and they've been a much better run-stopping team in the past. The issue is that Wink Martindale's... And if you can stop the run, then maybe you have a chance because you can make them a little more one-dimensional, and Hurts passing, you can focus a little bit on that.
Like make him uncomfortable a little bit more.
So but under Wink Martindale, the Giants are just not a very good run-stopping team despite having those big people, and that's because... those two guys and that defensive line have to overcompensate for right now a very, very depleted secondary. No Xavier McKinney, no Adoree Jackson, who's been their best cover corner all year. Actually, a rare Gettleman player living up to his contract.
Yes, right.
And, the Giants have to be overly aggressive with blitzing because they don't have the personnel to match up with these teams, especially with the Eagles, who have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Right.
And now the Giants don't have... They're playing like guys... I mean, Fabian Moreau, he's been a nice surprise, but it's basically guys off the street otherwise. And
100%.
And when you can't stop the run, the Eagles can do all their play-action stuff. And then it's just the floodgates are open. And so once...
Then it becomes a basically like a... Okay, stop our run.
Yes.
Like we dare you.
Right,
Basically.
right. And then, so then the Giants say they blitz and bring an extra guy, on the pass play. Okay, oh boy, then one of those like weapons is going to be burning us. And so they're just so balanced on the offensive side of the ball, and on the defensive side of the ball, they're really balanced too. And the Giants have no receivers right now.
Yeah,
none.
That too.
I mean, Kenny Galladay, I think, has COVID or something. He's out with an illness again. Like it's been a week.
Call of Duty brain.
Who cares? Yeah, I mean, he's checked out. I mean, I don't really know. He's also just like lost a ton in terms of explosiveness. And then it's just Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins, who is a 6th-round pick for the Bills that they basically got at the start of this year, kind of as a fail-safe. And
Slayton, who's coming back from a...
No, he doesn't have an injury.
Oh,
no.
okay.
So basically, it's just... It's not going to be good for the Giants. They can only run the ball at this point with the lack of receivers, and the Eagles are going to be able to pick up on that, and because they're just too one-dimensional to keep up. So that's my first pick. You go now.
I am taking this. This is a revenge game anyway. I slice it because this is the two teams that have been tormenting me all year, facing off against one another. I am taking the Lions -2 over the Vikings. Again, a surprising line. Was not expecting the Lions to be favorites here. Like I don't exactly know what's going on.
I was shocked too, but it seemed that when I see that, that means Vegas knows something I don't.
Which is, I think, you're probably right. There's some reason that they think that. There's some reason I guess either on either side that they think that it'll be more than a pick'em for this game.
Yeah.
But the Lions have just I think I was maybe a little late to this because I was kind of still pretty fixated on the poor defensive play and the management shakeup with Aubrey Pleasant getting fired, their defensive backs coach, but. The offense has looked like really, really good and really creative. And they kind of have all year, but I just really think now with Amon-Ra St. Brown back in the lineup, they're kind of firing on all cylinders. Goff threw for like over 300 yards on Sunday.
He's having his best season in his career.
And he's just by playing like pretty just serviceable quarterback play, highlighting the talent that St. Brown brings, that he's just like versatile, super athletic, plays really hard. He's a tough guy. The line has been playing really well. I mean, Penei Sewell is really now at this point in his career, young career, like making a name for himself as like being a top 10 pick. He's huge, but just can move is so light in his feet. And even guys like Dan Skipper, who was like a not heralded line player, playing really well. Frank Ragnow, I really have no concerns truly about the offense, and I think they're actually good. Obviously, it's still the defense that's a problem, but I guess I'm just thinking that if they can find the weak points in the Vikings defense, which I think there are, because it's still not as if even with Zadarius Smith having a good season, they're not like lighting people's hair on fire in terms of the pass rush. And even I think also Patrick Peterson having a decent season in the secondary. He's still he's a little up there in age. He's got a lot of tread on his tires. Cam Dantzler has shown flashes at safety, but I think there are times where he can really mess up mentally. I think there are ways just for them to for Ben Jones, the offensive coordinator, and the Lions offense to take advantage of these spots. It just is really a matter of whether Cousins can really just Cousins in the line can keep the pocket clean, and he can just use the weapons with Justin Jefferson, guys like that, to his advantage. But I think there are a lot of points where I think in terms of direct matchups, the Lions on offense have good points to hit and pressures that they can access against the Vikings.
And the Lions defense has improved in recent weeks, like a significant amount. I guess with this game, could the Vikings clinch?
So it looks like at least in the chat, Martin in the YouTube chat is saying the Vikings did clinch.
They have not clinched.
They haven't. Oh,
no.
Martin, I think you
check
your facts.
That's
Martin.
not true.
But maybe they could.
I think they can. Yeah, I believe they can.
So I guess it's also that my only thought is if they had, maybe I would feel more confident in the sense that maybe they would not play their starters. But if they're playing for the division, they will. So all of my analysis is with assuming they're at full strength, assuming they're playing everybody.
Yeah, obviously. But you're taking the Lions -2. Yeah. And so I mean, the Lions, look, they've been really good for the past 5 weeks. They've won 4 out of their last 5, and they covered against the Bills at home. I mean, they were neck and neck with the Bills. They only lost by 3 points on Thanksgiving.
Right. And even against a really good matchup, despite not getting the win, they played it close.
I would not touch this game, but I could see it going either way. But I think your reasoning is sound. All right, so I'm taking Kansas City in Denver -9. I'm picking all favorites this week. The Chiefs, it's just they just lost last week, and I like the Chiefs coming off a loss.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the game that got flexed out of Primetime because Russ is so embarrassing.
What's the point?
Yeah. I mean, thank God.
Keep the Broncos out of Primetime. I don't need any more Primetime Denver games. I've gotten enough for a lifetime this season.
And you can see the criticism of them is a little. One, I think people are just a little sick of making fun of Russell Wilson all the time at this point. But I feel like people are now that they're out of Primetime a little bit, they are less of an object of derision a little bit, at least proportionately to before. But the Chiefs have won 13 straight against the Broncos. They are 10-3 against the spread against the Broncos. And the Broncos, The Athletic wrote this up, are averaging 2 red zone drives per game.
Is that good?
Not good. That ties for the 15 fewest of any team this century.
Jeez.
And the fewest since the Cardinals in 2018, which is, I believe, the year they drafted Kyler Murray, and then the draft after that. 1.75 was so like it's not just bad, it's dog shit, their offense.
And like historically
bad in this era of offensive explosion where all the rules are tilted towards the offense. Mahomes is also undefeated on the road against division rivals in his career. Still.
That's crazy. That's a wild stat.
Wild,
actually.
right?
But the one thing with the Broncos, though, just to like, we've I think contextualized this. But when we talk about this stuff, like when you're talking about like the red zone drives and like even put it by the numbers beyond just what we're seeing, you combine that with like the narrative coming into the season, and like I really think we're not being that hyperbolic when we say just like against expectations, this actually might be the worst season in NFL history.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, like it actually like in terms of what people were anticipating this to look like and what it was and what it has been, it might be the worst season in NFL history.
Yeah. And honestly, the 9 points scares me a little. Because sometimes the Chiefs are like, we're going to get lazy and we'll let you come back in it just for funsies.
Right.
But to me, I feel like they win by 10 points at least. So that's my second pick, Kansas City -9.
And then for me, my second pick, this one I do not feel good about at all.
I would have taken San Francisco -3.5, like, I almost considered making that one of my 3 best. 3 locks.
I have the Bucks +3.5. Not easy for me to justify with the Bucks offense going against the 49ers defense, even despite the injuries, because like this is just what happens with this Niners defense. Is like they could basically put like potted plants as their linebackers, and they would still be like quick and nasty and aggressive and stuff like that. But I don't know, the Bucks, even despite some of the bad vibes that seem to be coming out of there, they've managed to win close ones, and like Brady has still been able to whittle back some magic that he's had in these late game scenarios where I kind of thought he would have had fully lost it at this point. And I still, despite some of the lapses that the Bucks defense has had the last few weeks, I still feel like I can trust them against a young, inexperienced quarterback with a line that's good. I mean, Trent Williams is back, and Trent Williams is like when healthy, one of, if not the best left tackle in the league. But this is like still a smart heads up, like, imposing defense when they're playing well and when they have everybody kind of operating at full strength and firing on all cylinders. We'll see if that's the case. I just think I definitely would have not have taken this if it was Garoppolo with McCaffrey, Debo, and Kittle and Ayuk and stuff. But I just think, and of course we know what Kyle Shanahan can do with young, inexperienced quarterbacks, but this is just a lot to put on a guy who was picked last in this year's draft. And so I'm just saying, I'm only thinking if this defense can make somebody's life difficult, it would be Brock Purdy.
You're going against your own reasoning about the Niners, though. Like, we've talked about this with like Kyle Shanahan and, in the context of why Trey Lance looks so bad, because he's been able to make, what's his name?
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins look good.
No, I guess what I'm saying is like, I know it to be true, but I am curious. Like, I kind of think I need to see Shanahan like make gold.
Look, I could eat shit, but I just feel like Brady looked like crap until the end of that game, and like against the Saints, and I just don't see the Niners defense like giving that up like the way the Saints
I
did.
think that matchup is not in my favor. I'm mostly banking on like Brock Purdy having a hard time against like Levante David,
and maybe it could be a field goal and then like that half point.
But also, I could even see potentially I don't even necessarily think that I could see the Bucs backdoor covering too. I could also see
Right.
I'm not even necessarily guaranteeing they win this game.
I
And
hear
you know,
you.
if they get blown out, don't say I didn't say it.
We're just embracing debate here at ESVN.
Absolutely.
All right, my final pick here. This is, I don't know. I mean, I guess the one thing that scares me is that Kenneth Walker is out, but I'm taking the Seahawks minus 4.5. So to win by 5 points or more against the Carolina Panthers at home. And part of that is, if we could just put that up really quickly.
Sorry.
Yeah. Part of that is just that, one, you know, so as I mentioned, Kenneth Walker, he won't be playing, but the Seahawks, who did they lose at home to last time? I'm going to, again, look this up in the middle of the broadcast like a true professional. Yeah, so they lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, that was the Josh Jacobs off overtime run. Yeah.
And the defense for the Seahawks were regressing a little bit to what they kind of are, in my opinion,
right.
which is
like
not.
They played up, then played down, they played down in the beginning of the season, played up, and then were playing down again.
They just don't have they don't have the guys to.
No, they're very young, inexpensive, and inexperienced. Like it's almost, I almost think it's like, to their credit a little bit, that young guys like Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant are looking good, but it's just like they're not currently fit to like take on good offense.
Maybe they will. I mean, Pete Carroll can coach defenses like nobody's business. But they're just they're young, and it's amazing
so early
that they're in this position at this point.
Right,
you know,
totally.
But I just think Geno Smith is still playing really good football. The Panthers have nothing to play for. Sam Darnold's going to be starting. They know the team is in disarray. They just like let Baker Mayfield go for nothing, you know.
Also, I'm not really taking anything super positive from the win over the Broncos, because like it's just more of it's less a feather in the Panthers' cap than a massive embarrassment for the Broncos.
Right.
One of many. So.
And so for me, it's like, okay, they got their final win of the season, because then they play the Seahawks in Seattle, the Steelers, the Lions, the Bucks, the Saints. I don't know. I mean, I guess they could win some of those games, but I just don't see them having much fight. And the Seahawks are at home, and that's a real thing. And when the 12th man gets going, it's really hard for quarterbacks to get plays off. I could see Sam Darnold making a few mistakes, and so I'm taking the Seahawks minus 4.5 in Seattle.
Yeah, I just think I think that in terms of matchup, it's like I could totally see, for example, like DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett going up against one-on-one against like JC Horn, for example. Geno throwing a perfect ball, and either DK or Tyler or Lockett get like cashing it in the end zone, or drawing a massive DPI penalty, because as athletic and as Horn has been, he's a little handsy, and he's a little aggressive with those hands, and draws a lot of flags. So I'm just thinking in terms of matchup. I just think there's very few. Maybe sure, Brian Burns could have a good game and could maybe make some trouble for Geno, but except for a few missteps, I even think the young guys on the line have looked really good.
Yeah,
like Abe Lucas and Charles Cross. So I just think there are more matchup benefits for the Hawks than the Panthers.
Yes,
because I know we've talked about how there are more the Panthers, even without McCaffrey now, there might be a tiny bit more talent than some people might give them credit for. But like you said, there's just nothing really to play for. It's a transitory coaching situation also, and it's literally their third or fourth quarterback this season.
Yeah,
so
and like all their with all the
flux, you know?
They have so much talent on the defensive line, but it's also just like, have they been coached to be?
That's the thing. Have they been coached to be a
have they
solid,
been molded correctly? Yeah,
cohesive unit.
I worry for guys like JC. Like, even if they have a lot of talent, this amount of coaching turnover is bad.
Totally, for guys like Horn, guys like Derek Brown, I completely agree.
So, final pick.
Then I have I'm punishing the Chargers now, because they are my Super Bowl team. They were my Super Bowl pick in the beginning of the year. I bet on them.
Huge mistake.
I bet on them like 500 times, and they never win. So.
You underestimated. We all did underestimated how terrible of a coach Brandon Staley is, and how terrible of an offensive coordinator Lombardi is.
Just how limited they would make. I think we've basically said this before. It's like they gave it's like they're putting like a 98-year-old person in a Ferrari and saying, "Hey, go drive." Take it for a spin.
I know, right.
It's just crazy. But so I just took I'm taking the Dolphins -3.5. I think even though Waddle I think is a little I don't know if necessarily I haven't seen the injury report, so I don't know if Waddle's not playing or if Waddle is just banged up. But I still think even despite the loss, the Niners kind of had the perfect defensive game plan to kind of stifle Tua and stifle the Dolphins' offense. I certainly do not think the Chargers possess that, and I don't think the Chargers, again, who have one of the worst run defenses in the league, will be able to stifle like Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson like the Niners were able to do. Mm-hmm. I still think Tua will play mostly mistake-free football, and even without Waddle, I mean, Tyreek Hill, for the most part, is probably Offensive Player of the Year. I don't really see him having a terrible game against, again, a secondary as well that doesn't have J.C. Jackson, and it hasn't even really gotten a whole lot of support. Kenneth Murray is injured, and when Kenneth Murray is playing, he's bad. Mm-hmm. And Derwin James and Nasir Adderley have not been enough to, supplement either the attrition that they've experienced and also just the poor gameplay.
Yeah, you'll see Derwin James makes great plays in the game, but then they give up huge plays.
Right, it's just not enough.
It's not enough.
There's only one guy in this defense, so
inexplicable. I mean, I would whatever. I hate the Chargers coaching staff.
It's terrible.
Even with these injuries, they have enough talent to be making these plays more.
And also, we see it with the other thing is I always think we compare, but we see it with other teams with probably less talent.
Yeah.
Who are playing more cohesive and sound football on both ends.
The Giants,
exactly. The Seahawks, for example. You know what I mean?
Seahawks, right.
So, all that being said is I just think, I struggle, especially after last week, if recency bias can be any indicator that if they weren't that competitive last week, I don't think they're going to be super competitive on the defensive end against the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, the Dolphins are definitely the better team. This will be in prime time. It'll be very interesting. I'm so glad this is what got flexed in because it's the battle between the 5th and 6th overall picks.
Yes, right. Tua and Herbert. Yeah,
and
I love it.
I'm dreading. I do think you're right that I think the Dolphins will win, and then it's going to be vindicated.
Yeah,
Tua's better. No, so but. That will be what will be told to me.
I'll be on Herbert Island. I will be on Herbert Island till I'm in the grave. I'm a stan.
They're literally this stupid team is about to freaking Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's more talented than Phillip Rivers. They're about to Matt Stafford him. That's his career trajectory.
That's exactly is basically look at this guy's tools and say, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, right. No, we'd just rather...
We'd rather you throw 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage to Austin Eckler and Gerald Everett.
Yeah, we'd rather, if you're going to throw long, you have to jam it in and make sure everything's a one-on-one matchup and our receivers don't have any speed, but we're still going to do it anyway.
And if you're gonna throw a ball, if you're gonna throw a deep ball, we'd rather you throw it into quadruple cut.
Yeah. Please.
Yes. Thank you, Justin. Thanks so much. Meeting over.
It's infuriating. Anyway, those are our picks for the week. To recap, I've got the Eagles -6.5 in New York against the Giants. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs -9 in Denver. I've got the Seattle Seahawks -4.5 in Seattle. So I am picking all favorites. Bradley's got the Lions in Detroit -2. He's got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in San Francisco +3.5. And the Miami Dolphins in LA. I mean, who cares? That's not even it's basically a neutral field against the Chargers -3.5. There will be more Dolphins fans than Chargers fans, for sure.
I'm really sweating this Buccaneers pick now.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I
started talking about it and I was like, I am really making a case against my pick.
Which means it'll probably be the one that
maybe I'll go 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The other ones don't go well, but somehow the Bucs win by 10 or something.